Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dwar Punjabi, and I'm representing side negative as the first speaker. We're debating today that the breakup of Yugoslavia was more significant than the partition of India. We, however, as the negative side, strongly disagree with this motion, and we believe that the partition of India was more significant than the breakup of Yugoslavia. Firstly, we agree with the affirmative side's definition of significant, more important, or greater than, to be deemed noteworthy. And we strongly believe that the partition of India had a great impact on not only India, but the rest of the world. But firstly, we'd like to offer some rebuttal on side affirmative's points. They mention that that Yugoslavia was the last of a series of countries in which communism failed. It was, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it was the worst example of communism, and therefore it does not necessarily mean that it had the greatest impact. They mentioned that it was the final stamp of communism, but does that mean it was the most important? Not necessarily. And firstly, let's go over the breakup of Yugoslavia. A formal federal republic, Yugoslavia, broke down as a result of political upheaval and conflict during the early 1990s, after the communist victory of World War II. The partition of India was the splitting of the British Indian Empire into Pakistan and India after the Indian independence movement. Pakistan was deemed a country on the 14th of August in 1947, and India was deemed a country one day later, resulting in their independence days on the 14th and the 15th of August, respectively. Now, firstly, let's look at these two examples. The partition of India. One of the main reasons for its occurrence was the Indian independence movement. One important figure of history comes to your mind when I say the word Indian independence: Mahatma Gandhi. Now, when I ask a random person here about Mahatma Gandhi, and when I ask them about the breakup of Yugoslavia, what would their reaction be? My first question: do you know who Mahatma Gandhi was? My second question: do you know what the breakup of Yugoslavia was about? Which one would they more likely know more about? Obviously, the former. This itself shows that the partition of India, was much more significant and has lasted in the world's memory for so long that it still remains a strong example of independence today. And Gandhi was all about independence. Salt marches, protests, and everything more got to do with non-violence. The breakup of Yugoslavia had more about wars and battles and less of protests. Non-violence was a prevailing factor at the time because people were more and more falling into the beliefs that non-violence was working, and the aftermath was stronger as well. For all these reasons, we believe that the partition of India was much more significant than the breakup of Yugoslavia. Thank you.